Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Horny Creek. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my own private HQ, Carol. How you doing?
What
today,
the fuck?
Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is November 10th, 1999.
It is.
And we watched some Secrets and Lies.
We did. You know, the show is called Dawson's Creek, right?
Yeah.
I literally don't remember Dawson's involvement in this episode in any way.
Yeah, he's not very involved in the episode. I like how many secrets and lies are in this episode either. Like so first of all, I called you HQ because apparently that's the name they give to their homecoming queens.
Just stupid.
HQ. It's the whole thing. So the whole homecoming thing is very Stepford Wives to me. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what it reminded me of. But I thought we've had a big break in Dawson, and the last episode was Dawson finding out that Eve is probably half siblings with Jen.
Yeah.
And I thought we would get some resolution to that, or we would get some furtherance of that plot, but no.
Nothing.
Instead, we get to talk about Jen and the quarterback that has a crush on her and an old lady that you definitely recognize from something or other. You see her face and you're like, she's been in something. I know it.
You know, much like our episode of...
Buffy the Vampire Slayer?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then with Slayer Talk.
Yeah, Slayer Talk's the name of the episode of the show, yeah.
Much like Slayer Talk, I feel like this was recorded out of order.
Yes. I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
Because it doesn't really relate to where we left off.
Not at all.
In the last episode.
On the last episode of Soap.
And I mean, the way Jen and Henry left off in the last episode is not acknowledged and doesn't come across.
That's true, too, because she's all pissed off at him and everything. And it's like, you fucking... We're supposed to be dating. Or, like, you're supposed to ask me out on a date or whatever. Like, fuck you. And... yeah, she's all upset about that.
Well, yeah, she's not, we're supposed to be dating. She's like, you forgot the part where you were supposed to ask me because he was, like, trying to spend time with her.
And she's so pissed off at him, but now all of a sudden she's nice to him?
Enough, but then she's still a bitch to him again.
She is at the end. But yeah, I agree. I feel like this is out of order. I think that's exactly... very cogent comment, Carol. I think that's exactly what it is.
So, where do you want to start?
Well, we've only have a couple things going on. So we've got the homecoming queen dance. Mm-hmm. We've got related to the homecoming queen dance is the only thing that has to do with Dawson in the episode with Dawson and his mom, because he takes his mom to the dance because she's a former homecoming queen as well.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
And then there's. Besides that, like I said, those plots are sort of intertwined. Besides that is the Joey Pacey... what's her name?
I
want to say Allie, but it's not Allie.
No.
Andy,
yes.
Yeah, the Joey Pacey Andy thing. That's the only other thing really going on in the episode. So, I don't know. Dealer's choice. Where do you want to start, Carol?
I guess let's just start with homecoming. So...
all right.
Jen has to go to this old lady's house. Well, first
she gets assaulted by
a mob.
500 HQs all surrounding her.
Of all the previous homecoming queens, do these people never leave Cape Side? And
Seriously.
If there's that many people hanging out in Cape Side, why is the street always so empty?
Exactly. The fuck?
And there's like enough of them to fill the hallway. And there's a secret handshake that goes along with the homecoming queen.
Yeah.
What? Are they in a gang? Are there colors? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, and the secret handshake is just like goosing someone's wrist with your middle finger.
Yeah.
Or index finger or whatever. It's like, oh my God.
Weird. Yeah, like the ringleader of the homecoming queen gang is this old lady. Was she the first Cape Side homecoming queen ever?
They said something like, "Oh, she's the oldest living one."
Yeah,
that's what they said.
So she wants
Mrs. Fluoride or something like that. I can't remember.
I don't know, but she is hosting the homecoming party.
Yeah, it's at her house. She hosts it every year, apparently.
And it's, super exciting. And Jen gets there and she gets to this lady's house because she's supposed to help plan this party. And she's just like, yeah, I really don't want to do this. It's not my thing. So I'm going to go. And lady's like, oh my gosh, you can't do this. She's like scandalized. And Jen walks out on her.
Yeah.
And then Henry
falls from the sky.
He was putting lights up or fixing her roof, or I don't know. He was up there doing some shit for this lady.
They're good friends.
Yes, as he explains, he's lived next door to her for
10
years and he's her best friend.
You know what it reminded me of? Great Expectations.
Yes,
Miss Havisham.
Yes.
It's 100% what it reminded me of.
I think that's what they're going for, honestly.
I was expecting to see a cake and like a wedding dress or something. Because she's lonely, like he says, she's lonely. She had a beau once, which she says they were engaged or whatever, but it never materialized. She never got married. She has no children. She's just alone, and like Henry says, it's like this is all like this is the whole world to her. This party every year.
Yeah, she has 2 things on her social calendar.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the other thing was.
The World Orchid Conference or something like that.
Yeah, because she's all into flowers.
She goes to Florida and displays her orchids or whatever.
Can you imagine living alone and having 2 big events in the year, and that's all you have going on?
And one is a cocktail party for a high schooler, and the other one is a flower show.
Right? Yikes.
No, that sounds awful.
But Jen and Henry gets really friendly hanging out in the flowers.
The greenhouse. Hanging out in the flowers. They shrink down Alice in Wonderland style, and they hang out inside the flowers.
Yes, exactly. But he, when he tells her how lonely this lady is and stuff, she's like, okay, well, maybe I should, go back in and do the thing. So when she's in there talking to Miss Havisham, we'll call her
Figgins or something like that. Finnegans.
I don't know. She says that Henry is going to be her date to the party. Like, she doesn't even ask him. She doesn't ask him. No. She got so mad at him for not asking her. And she's just like, oh, yeah, he's going to be my date. He's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
She has an inflated sense of self, I think.
She really does. Because, of course, nobody would be anything but happy to take her to a party.
Right. Well, Miss Havisham says to her, "What do you want to plan, the food or do you want to plan the entertainment?" And she goes, "I'll go with the entertainment." And she goes, "Okay, I have some no's. No rap, no like whatever." Like she lists off a bunch of stuff. And Jen's like, "What about a string quartet playing Mozart?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's perfect." She goes, "Okay, I'll find something in between."
But she doesn't.
No, she goes completely off the rails.
Yeah.
And she goes to New York and finds Patrick Swayze and fucking Wesley Snipes.
Right.
And John Leguizamo to Wong Fu.
Yeah, the night of the party, the entertainment shows up.
And it's transsexuals.
Yeah. It's really fucked up. I mean, Jen, come on. Like, I get what she's doing, but it's unfair. This is an old lady.
Right.
This is an old lady's house. And just because her little brain could not fathom this to say no in advance, it's obviously not going to be okay.
And she's like Henry's talking, she goes, "I'm giving her more credit than I think like she's gonna get it." And he's like, "Well, get what?" Like he doesn't even understand what she's talking. She's like, drag queens, homecoming queens, it's all the same thing. Just a bunch of people pretending they're something they're not. First of all, pretty offensive to drag queens.
Yeah. Yeah.
And second of all, I don't know. I think it's weird, but because it's a TV show, Miss Havisham gets into it. Mm-hmm. She can't help but tap her foot to the beat of them singing. I don't know, Barbara Streisand or whatever they're singing.
Yeah, and dancing. And Dawson, as we already said, is there with his mother because she has come from
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Philadelphia freedom.
We do find out, though, that she's actually been fired from her job.
Yes. She's, so at the beginning, before the whole party, she's in the house and everything, and she's like, Dawson, we're going to have a great time. And he's like, what are you talking about, we? And she's like, I need you to escort me. There's a lot of people presuming that other people are going to do stuff. She's like, I need you to escort me to this dance. And he looks at Mitch, and like Mitch looks away and everything, like, because he's thinking, well, you should go with your erstwhile husband or whatever.
Does he not get how awkward that would be?
No shit. So he agrees to do it, and they go together, and then she runs into her old like boss from the station, and I think her replacement, and the replacement's a complete bitch. Mm-hmm. Where she's like, "Oh, we were so like." To be fired for being too old, like to be too old to whatever she says, identify with the youth of Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's awful, very embarrassing for her.
And so Dawson's like, oh my god, why didn't you tell me? And everything.
So now we're wondering: is she going back or is she staying in Capeside?
How do you think the actress felt being like said like that storyline? Hey, we're gonna call you old.
Well, I mean, she is at least a former homecoming queen. They do give her the fact that she's beautiful.
Yeah. I guess it's a give and take, right?
Right. Because she is gorgeous.
She is, yeah.
She is older, though. I mean, it is just a fact.
Yeah, she is older. I think this is like them opening up her coming back, and maybe eventually her and Mitch will reconcile. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be. I don't know. I kind of think they should. What do you think?
I did it before. Now I don't know.
They have really good chemistry.
The actors do, yeah.
I like them together.
Well, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, so it ends up, instead of blowing up in her face, it ends up being a rousing success. Mm-hmm. And then Henry kisses her.
Oh, he tries to. She doesn't even let him.
Yeah, she
turns. And
she's like, look, this is not gonna happen, all right?
Yeah, this isn't a real date.
And he's like, what the fuck? You brought me here as your date. We dressed up like he looks like, I don't know, he's supposed to be like Amadeus or something like that.
They're like making fun of everything, like the way they dress, the drag show.
I get it. I understand, like, Rage Against the Machine, everyone, and like I understand the like go against the norms of culture and everything, but like at some point maybe you could just like do something normal.
Right? Just
like
smile and make other people happy, Jen.
I mean, for just once, for just a little bit.
Yeah.
Like not all the time, but whatever. But anyway.
Yeah, instead she's just like, she hurts his feelings, so he takes off on his own again. And like
his heart is broken.
She previously already rejected him.
My heart is breaking.
She already rejected. First of all, they've kissed before.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like it was a good kiss. She rejected him after that. She asks him on a date. He tries to kiss her again, and she won't let him. Like, get your shit together. Stop fucking with this poor boy.
She says something like, because she's like, look, I've realized like I can't be okay being with somebody else until like I'm okay being myself, which like, or with myself or whatever, which I guess makes sense,
Mm-hmm.
But she's like, oh, like all the things I've done and stuff like that. And it's like, you just fucking get over it. Like, I don't know. It just like, it really, I know that's what the show is, but it seems like whiny teen bullshit.
Mm-hmm. It is. I mean, I don't know. It is. It's a teen show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Jen pisses me off a lot.
So speaking of pissing us off, the other storyline involves Joshua Jackson, Katie Holmes,
Yeah.
and I can't remember Andy McPhee's actress's name.
So Pacey and Joey.
Yeah.
Joey they're like rebuilding the ice box, and Pacey is helping.
The ice box?
Is that what the restaurant's called?
I think it's called the Ice House.
Oh, Ice House.
The ice box would be the female player from Little Giants.
Okay, Ice House. He's helping, do the work because it's super expensive, and they have no income because she lost her job.
Yeah, exactly.
And she mentions this to Andy at some point.
Yeah, Andy's like, so Pacey's there, like, kind of helping out and everything. Andy walks up and says, hey, or whatever. And, well, first of all, they're walking and everything, and she's like, yeah, I got fired, and he's like, why'd you get fired? And he was like, what? And she's like, well, so he was dating someone, and I tried to warn him, or tried to warn this person not to date him because he's a bad guy or whatever. And he's like, oh, who was it? And she's like, oh, it's nobody you know.
Which is such a lie.
And he's like, look, never be a politician because you cannot lie. So who was it? And then she makes the face, and he's like, oh, because he figures out it was Andy.
Yeah.
And then, like, Andy shows up, and they have this, like, conversation. She's like, look, like, I'm not the reason you got fired. She's kind of a bitch to her.
Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, she's not the reason. Joey made her own stupid decision. Nobody asked her to leave her shift to go fuck with the boss. That was real stupid. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I agree. She tried to warn Andy before she left work and everything. She didn't need to follow her on her date.
Mm-hmm. So, I'm sorry. Joey doesn't have anyone else to blame. But Joey gets a call from Andy.
Come rescue me.
Crying. And it turns out that
I've been raped.
She didn't say she's been raped. She just says, help
I've been almost raped.
Help me, Joey. So
help me, you're my only hope.
So Pacey's with Joey, and they both go. And she's at a party, I guess, at this guy's house.
Yes.
And she's outside crying, and she's just like, oh, okay, let's go. And they're like, what happened?
He took me into the bedroom, and he started kissing, and then he tried to force himself on me. And you'll see in a minute why we're being so derisive. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh my God, this fucking monster or whatever. And she's like, but it's fine. Like, nothing happened. Like, we didn't actually assault me. And like, so let's just go. And Pacey goes in there and it's like, hey, Rob. And punches the shit out of him.
Yeah, and he's like, how dare you? And Rob's...
If you fucking lay a hand on her, he's like, I didn't touch her. What are you talking about?
Rob's like, I never touched her.
Now, here's the thing. In real life, some guy can rape a woman or try to rape a woman or whatever and be confronted and be realistically, like, believably say, I didn't do that. Like, but in a TV show, they're not going to make him be believably like they wouldn't do that in this TV show. So as soon as he was like that, I was like, oh, I don't think he did it. I think he's telling the truth. And Andy's the one lying. Because, as has been established for a couple episodes now, Andy is a liar.
She definitely is. So, Pacey takes her, like, they take Joey home, and he takes her to his boat.
The boat he's working on, yeah, True Love.
Which, because she doesn't want to go home? It's kind of weird. I don't know what they thought was going to happen. I mean, I know what she wanted to happen, but I don't know what he was thinking.
So, yeah, they're sitting there and everything, and she's like, oh, you saved me and stuff. And, like, she goes to kiss him, and he's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Like, we're friends. Like, first of all, by the way, if you almost got assaulted, I mean, I'm not going to judge any, like, whatever. If any woman's ever been in this situation, however you felt afterwards is the right way to feel, because it's all individual.
All right.
But I wouldn't think that someone who was just almost sexually assaulted would be like, ooh, I'm turned on now. Even after getting rescued with the guy. Mm-hmm. Right? But, like, it seems weird.
Yeah.
It seems like another indication that she's lying. And so he's like, what the hell? And she's like, come on. Like, you know, I want us to be us again. And, like, she just goes through this whole, like, thing about she wants to be with him again and she made a big mistake and all this stuff.
And they kiss.
And it makes me think the entire time this was her plan.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're right.
Like, at least, maybe not necessarily this specific thing, but to make him jealous.
Mm-hmm. Well, and, like, I think it's weird, though, that she called Joey and not Pacey, because, like,
that is weird.
Like, I don't think she planned for Pacey to show up and rescue her or whatever. But she was definitely putting on.
Yeah. But yeah, so, like, she's like, come on, you know, whatever, the moonlight. And
it doesn't have to mean anything.
Let's be in the moonlight like we used to be or whatever. And so they kiss and presumably have sex.
Yeah, based on the morning after conversation. And there is morning after conversation.
Yeah, because she's all like, oh, we're us again or whatever. And he's like, like you can tell he's
not happy.
No, but he's not saying it yet. Mm-hmm. So she goes and she goes over to Joey's house and they're cooking or whatever. I don't know what they're doing. They're in the kitchen. And she's talking to her and everything. Rob had come over earlier that day.
This is so weird.
To Joey's. And by the way, been super aggressive, like grabbing her arm and stuff like that. Like the way he was acting, I was like, well, maybe he fucking did do it. Because, like, what is this?
Well, he's always been an asshole to Joey. And I think it's weird, though. Like, who explained to him the chain of events that he knew Joey had anything to do with it? Yeah, Joey didn't hit him.
Right.
And he was accused of trying to rape Andy.
Yeah.
Yet he goes to Joey's house yelling at her about the whole situation, wanting to know, is she going to the police? Why did she say this about me?
Right. She's got to know that, you know, being sexually harassing you at work's one thing, but, like, trying to assault somebody, like, I would never, you know, and, like, he's really trying to defend himself, and she's like, whatever, you know, fucking, she closes the door on him. And then later, she's talking to Andy about it, and she's like, hey, you know, Rob came over, and he's, like, saying all this shit and everything. She's like, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to the police. He didn't, like, he didn't actually do anything, so, like, let's just drop it or whatever. And she's like, well, Andy, and she's like, I'm not crying wolf if that's what you think. Mm-hmm. And, like, it's all very Lady Macbeth, doth protest too much.
Well, at one point, and I think this was that night, Joey and Pacey are both, like, in her face, like, you have to tell the police, you have to go to the police, which is really, like, forceful and judgmental. If she was really, like, assaulted, no, she doesn't. That's her choice.
Correct.
Stop trying to force her. Like, I don't like the way they handle this at all.
No.
Although, in reality, it's probably all fake.
Right, yeah.
So.
And they are teenagers, so. You know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so, she's like, she gets all pissed off and everything. And then, I think the next day, maybe, or later that night, I don't remember. But she goes to Pacey. Andy goes to Pacey. And is like, hey, I brought you stuff for your boat, you know, and everything. Mm-hmm. And he's like, look, boats that cheat on other boats aren't so easily forgiven. And, like, there's a lot of barnacles. And it's maybe easier to build a new boat than to go back to your old boat and have sex with it. And she's like, can we stop pretending this is about boats? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be with you. There was a mistake last night. And she's all angry and pissed off and sad and crying, and she runs off. And then she confronts Joey and is like, you fucking told him that I made it all up. And she's like, I didn't. I thought maybe you did. But I was like, nah, Andy wouldn't do that. Like, that's a horrible lie that Andy would never tell, and you're not that bad of a person, and all this shit and everything. And then Andy's kind of like,
but I am.
I sort of lied about it, though.
Yeah.
I don't think does she come right out and admit it? But
no, but you can tell.
It's very heavily implied that she definitely made it up.
Yeah, I don't like her character.
I don't either. Remember when she first came on the show and I hated her? And then,
no.
Yeah, because I didn't want any more characters. So
yeah.
Like, stop expanding characters. And then I was okay with her, but now I hate her character.
Well, her and Pacey had a really good relationship for a while. They were really good for each other, and it was nice. But that quickly exploded.
They had to destroy it all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's kind of where we leave things there. They're not together.
Yeah.
Andy is crazy.
Uh-huh.
In several different ways. Like, not like, oh, Andy has bipolar disorder or whatever, which is what she went to the thing for, schizophrenia or whatever she is.
She's not hallucinating or something currently, as far as we can tell.
No, she's TV crazy, where it's like she's just acting like a crazy hose beast.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, that's the episode for the week. I liked the episode though.
Yeah,
entertaining episode.
It was a very good episode.
I'm interested to see where they go with this next week. I'm hoping they bring back the Eve plot a little bit, because I'd like to see where that goes too.
I'd like some more Dawson in our Dawson's Creek.
Sure. But Carol, that is the episode for the week. Tell people where they can find their own. There's so many directions I could go. Orchid.
Okay. You can rate us at latefee1994 at AOL.com.
Mm-hmm.
Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yep.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, see you next time. Bye.
Bye.